Because, oh yeah, I go over and I pick up the chocolate one. I like, doing good. So what do you think of his? I thought we had. So I'm like, how do I know? No mail down there. Have you got anything mail from that? Everything else I've got. You doing good? You get done? Amazing board. So bringing that. You pulled them up last week. This stuff smells like fire.
Normally they fire them, but yes, I didn't realize that was
Better. You can take that. I take that 4 times a day. On top of everything else. People wonder why I get coffee. It's got a donut and bacon. What the heck? Good morning, sir. You doing good? Really? Are you happy with all your classes? Or you like that still waiting on grades? I've got one class I'm still waiting.
This is called.
I'll be happy if I get that in this class. Oh, he's got a full plate.
I've got 2 A's, a B.
What the heck is a B?
Passing. See how late the old thing before anything is made you're going to church?
Right.
And so it was in the girls' thing.
Okay.
So today's a B, and I'll think I'll be more of a C.
When you look at the grades, I'm looking at the phone.
Oh, yeah. So,
I need to get on the check. I don't even know what class. I'll leave it. I don't remember my password.
yeah. Well, I just make sure mine on my phone.
That's what I have.
All in there. And then I booked
How you doing?
Good,
Harold, how are you?
fine, sir.
No, I didn't.
Just so you gang up and
Yeah, no doubt.
but I've still got. I've got nothing from theology.
I remember that grade.
Yeah, I know.
How was theology too?
It was good. It was a mod.
You had it with Balmer?
No, I had it with. I have this semester with.
Really?
That's good. Now, part of it was good because I know him so long.
Yeah, yeah, I like it.
That I was able to joke with him and tease him and stuff. Like he quotes a book that was written by Lord, so throughout the whole class of Lord. And it was a mod. So towards the end of the week, I finally had a Lord 225 or something.
Right.
I said, is that a page number in this book? There's a number of times you just quoted me in class. Like everybody starts laughing. Everybody starts quoting. Yeah, I knew I quoted him a lot. And I was thinking that, so I was typing the page. This is Lord heavy. And then,
That's funny.
This year he's here.
I cannot find my password. That's not good.
Different streets.
There is a password you need, I promise. This is really here. I just see a friend of mine just having surgery this morning. Clearing out up there yet?
no, there's on that end.
Got to go there pretty quick.
So when they told me, hey, Baptists know how to do food lines.
We just finished off in Atlanta, Texas, and west of Boston. Hour and a half or so. ready to go up into Ames, Iowa. We got a couple of things that could pop up whenever they get church in Chandler. Kent, they've got a project they want to move and remodel. Once they raise their funds, maybe down there, anytime between now and the next 5 years, whenever they decide to be ready.
We bought a building 2 years ago. Lutheran built it about 30 years ago.
Thank you very much for getting that straight. Well, she'll be around probably later on today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Built about a year and a half. Bid on it. It's a bid. I guess I was $4 million. Pretty disappointed about it.
Oh, yeah?
So I just we lost my house. All the things I'm sorry. 3 or 4 5 days. Finally, I called the realtor. What's the deal?
Getting everything.
They haven't done anything over there. Man, I've been trying to call you.
I had just a cup of Java. I got to get some real food.
3 days before the people were taking down stocks and stopping me came in. And totally just made it on. He said, "You been in the building?" Lately? And when I was, well, the other group got the contract. I had a key. He was way over there. I thought he was 45 miles away.
Yeah.
I kind of watched the property, and so I used to walk away. And he said it's open. It's open. And we jumped back in and got the bid. But every bathroom, I mean, they just have those copper pipes that are put on before the wall. All the now 48 grand of doing all this, doing all that. 45,000 on the roof and covering part of what they did. Everything else put that together is $492,000.
Then we tell the guys who did it, they never will.
No. But we have a beautiful building now. We upgraded everything. We did all that.
Is that on the east side of Houston?
That's about 1, 2. As a crow fly, it's probably about 5 miles from what you're talking about.
Does it have a fence around the property? Around the parking lot?
That was the building we sold, probably sold when I went there. We had that property and the school property.
It seems like I remember going there years ago.
The bank was about to take all of it. When I went there, I got it. I don't know where it's on. Until the bankruptcy church was going. Not a month.
On each side.
Well, anyway, doing great. Bought the property and remodeled it. Debt free, repayment.
That's awesome. I'll let you get some.
Thank you right now. Gave up on the property. We had Lutheran bought a portable building. 2 classrooms that they use for daycare. We're stopping to pick up more pictures.
The man says he's a pain in the butt.
Broke into that. about a month ago. I got a bad story about a shirt putting store from the broken dead church. Thank you, sir. We put up a gate on the property now. We think it all 12 games. It's terrible.
That makes for a nice inviting church property.
Yep. Pardon?
If you don't, they'll take it. So they have to turn the dogs loose.
Well, one thing I do, not as much as that lately, but more with listening to home and cameras all around the property, shooting right on the property. The last thing I did while I went to bed was I woke up in the middle of the night, like I did my little bathroom. I looked at the camera. I had to do it just to get my sleep. So I told the guys on church, Bill McDavid, that, Texas, we're always known for brand and so on. I said, let's gates are bad enough situation. So we had the company take our logo and cut it out of 3/16 sheet that had a logo on each number to get a little more of a friendly look. And then we the paint company that sprayed for the paint company, this glass beads they put on the sign when the car line put them at night and check back like stop sign and stuff.
Yeah.
We put that on there so whenever I was pulling our parking lot and drinking all the tea at night, we won't run into them. Now when you pull in the parking lot, not your headlights, it reflects back on you.
Gotta do.
I do good, thank you. How are you? I'm doing well.
They taste great.
No calories, too.
Bill feeling better? Oh no.
Yes, sir. Come on. Oh, Josh is.
Oh, somebody sat there?
Yeah, he's in a wheelchair.
When he comes back, tell me when you see him coming so he's not like...
Well, he's in a wheelchair, so you can't really see him above the crowd.
I'm kind of scared. So you guys in Texas right now? Come on in.
Drive like we do in Houston, bound for
Don't worry, I won't eat it. I had a big breakfast. I didn't know they were doing that.
I didn't know they were doing it until I finally got to read the safety. I was like, oh yeah. But you notice it's cold like all week.
I know, I've been getting on to do that
They
email
have the
stuff.
ability to do it in Iowa.
I don't read the emails.
Last name? My name. Well, they brought that yesterday. I just met Johnny.
Still no great.
And I'm going to give my
We go before the city to start the permitting process in May 23rd. And that's only our civil side. The civil guy thought it would take all summer to go through that process. And I'm getting ready to sign this MEP, mechanical, electrical, plumbing designer. And he said it'll take 12 weeks. So probably we should have most of our construction documents by but there's potential I could do site work in September or October. And we've already got another building guy that's going to put up builders in, just make the interior work, some outside, maybe sidewalks or something. What would be the best case window in 2017 for you guys?
I think I'm supposed to be on
I'll have a better idea of what timeline is for. There could be hiccups. I still have to, during the summer, I've still got to talk to a lot of like heating and air use. Getting some good ideas for use in some areas like electrical. Still got a lot of work to do. I hope by this fall we'll have time. Make sure we survive the week.
How are you doing?
Oh, thanks. We were trying to at least set him over on next to you.
The good thing is we're not being pushed out of our school. It's ministry.
Josh, he's one of
I
bunch
get
of my sizes.
It's like Sunday we had a
Hello. Hey guys, we have a lot of people still trying to find some seats, so if you have an empty seat at your table, will you guys raise your hand? If there's an empty seat at your table. Hey guys, if you're looking for a seat, we got some over here, got the hands raised. Just find a seat. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. We're going to start here in just a few minutes, so enjoy your breakfast.
walk out and smell that honey every morning.
Yeah. We've been working on the site as far as utilities. We've got our sewer and
How does oranges have less calories?
the gas company should be building this summer. There's our civil water. So things are moving real fast, but it's a process. Everything we've done so far, we have enough cash built in right now to do all of our summer work. So we hope to enter this fall with everything still paid for. We have to make the actual building.
Mom and Dad will change your places if you
Land's
like.
paid for. So far,
My futon is really nice.
it'll be wood interior. We're going to do metal roofing.
want
we
me
have
to
a
pay him?
certain section of the building we need to cut back. We're not going to finish the certain side of it. We'll do the classrooms and the portion. We have to cut back. Right now, the bank only wants to loan $650,000.
We've already got a babysitting schedule set up for my parents, so.
Still negotiating.
And we don't need kids here.
The building itself,
Oh, we have kids here.
footing and slab, $25,000. So we're looking at $135 just to get the building We're around that.
But when you get home and it's missing,
he doesn't keep his truck on the outside. So far, the city's been able to asphalt the
last time he breaks with your parents and he'll be in it.
that could change too.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Probably the handicap. I don't know. All these issues with each other. Still moving forward, so. Pretty excited about the building guy. We got them put up. We've seen them put up 3 buildings in our area.
I know where the markers are. What you doing there?
He's been doing it for 30 years. And he has his own metal supplier for payments to the West. Just past EF1 stops right next to it. I showed my dad the map last night. There's 3 streets to the south of it. Stop. No injuries. In your perspective, anything else that I need to have on the We have 1,200 residential lots being developed right now in the city. Within 5 minutes driving to your property. The same road we're going to be on this fall, we're going to be at 2200 Seat High School. Doing it kind of in a small scale now because the problem we have all these countries that are like families and our kids are 6 hours down there. And so the parents are like, my kids in the same building. So we're working on a lot of tool things so that whenever we can't get a new facility, we can get the big position. So we're updating our website, constitution bylaws, we're redoing traffic, getting technology out of the city.
Unfortunately, sometimes you get stuck in the table you don't want to be on.
And we know our timeline because we have other businesses and churches that have put up signs, but they've been out there for a couple years. And I said, we're not putting one up until we know our timeline for sure. I don't want it to be like, we're never going to do this. In fact, when we're out there working on some of the site utilities, a lot of people are like, so are you starting? We're like, kind of.
couple of years. It just, I never realized they've still never taken down this extremely old scoreboard and recorder. It's a part of the structural integrity at this point. This is maybe a little bit bigger than what they used to have, yeah.
I'm surprised they gave it to you. It was paid for. No, but I'm saying, yeah, we don't have any for that yet. Just to come back and free time. We have yours, but we just don't have it in yet. We had to wait. Yeah. They didn't want to give us that $15. Right. Yeah.
Across the line in Missouri and because in Arkansas, it's tax day 6 months. So I have a Missouri account and an Arkansas account. So that way if I have to make ticket, I can cross the line and buy it.
He's a founder.
Seat up there.
I want to ask if this is almost dropping their off the rails. Well, up until the last one, when they start pushing for we want a new stadium, we have to have a new stadium.
It's always several people.
And they go over and tell them, hey, we're going to be praying for the church this fall. If we lost the Rams, we understand more people may be coming.
Village League 2016.
My name's Mariah, and this is your 16th. Don't forget to sign up for the annual boxing match that's happening Thursday at 1 p.m. Tickets are only $75, and you can purchase them at BBC Central in Jackson Gym.
BBC Radio is on the listening to see it going back to BBC Central connection made and the first original song
Follow us on social media this week so you can get updates and stay in the loop. If you post something, use the hashtag AllIn16.
right after the business meeting, the lowest of the cap will be the alumni and friends emotion. And we'll start at 12:30. Tickets can be bought for $25. If you have the metal building this year, encourage you to go and be sure to join us here again at 6 p.m. for the Mark Lambert Community Celebration. You've probably heard a lot of buzz about the dorm room renovations that are happening on campus. These dorm rooms are great, and we want to give you an opportunity to check them out. So today and tomorrow from 12 to 6 p.m., you can get a tour of those rooms. They're located on the first floor of the dorm. My name is Zach. That's all I have for you today. And this has been 628.
All right, well, good morning, everybody. I hope you enjoyed your breakfast. Man, feel free, please keep eating. There is tons more bacon up there. It's good for your heart, so make sure you eat a lot of that. And we had a great night last night. Tom Messer did a wonderful job challenging us with the gospel and the power of the gospel. And so today, we've got 3 sessions lined up leading up to lunch today. And we're excited about that. And it's my honor, my privilege to introduce and welcome my new friend. Jason Henderson's going to kick it off for us this morning. And I got to meet Jason this year down in Florida, him and his staff and his wonderful wife, Judy, and just an amazing guy with an amazing ministry down there. They've taken that church and they relocated, they rebranded it, and he's redirecting it in the path of what God wants for them. And it's an exciting, it's a vibrant, growing ministry. He's a wonderful leader, and you see that when you meet his staff. And today he just wants to come and encourage us and with the Word of God this morning. So welcome with me this morning my new friend Jason Henderson to the stage.
Well, good morning. Very honored, very humbled to be with you this morning. We left 90 degrees to be here, and we're excited because I guess the next phase for Florida is super hot, which is Hades, basically. And if you ever go on vacation, do not go to Florida in the summer. It is not the place to be. If you have your Bibles, I would love for you to find Joshua chapter number 3. And I was kind of walking here on campus with my wife, and my wife and I, we graduated here. She graduated in 94, I graduated in 95. And it was just amazing to come back to this campus and to look around and had an opportunity to really kind of meet Mark and meet the people here at the school and just, honestly, just blown away by their commitment to really begin to just bring this school back, and I'm really humbled by it. And then I began to walk through the pathways, and I just began to think about all these incredible memories that BBC has given us. And I was thinking about guys in this fellowship and the guys that went to this school. I don't know if you guys get around, but I go to conferences in certain places and things like that all over. And I'm always running into BBC grads. And I'm always amazed at what God has done in them and their ministries. And we have so many great guys that just had this incredible ministry. And they have been through so many incredible odds. And really, honestly, I don't think we take time enough to really look at what most of us, if not all of us in ministry, have had to overcome and endure. It should humble us, right? It should humble us to think that man, God uses just normal, everyday people like us to do some incredible things. And I love to see stories on Facebook and social media and see all these ministries and see people and to be on these groups where we're praying for people in churches and to see them come to Christ. Because man, that message last night was so powerful, wasn't it? Because it's all about the gospel. It's all about how where we're at, where God has planted us to get to a place where this is what He wants us to do. He wants us to get the gospel out and grow where you're planted. Somebody said the grass is always greener on the other side because it's being watered. Right? It's not always going to be better somewhere else. It's better where you're at. The question is will we allow God to use us and have an impact to change people? And I think a lot of times the enemy comes in and discourages us, and then we kind of get deflated, and then we're like, okay, God, why are we having all these trials and tribulations? The reason why your church is going through trials and tribulations is because you're in a battle, you're in a war, and we're trying to save people's souls, right? That's why I don't know about you, but that's why I came here. I was 17 years old. My mom was a nurse. My dad was a mechanic. And I went to 3 different schools. And when I walked on campus from Florida onto here to look at this campus, I don't know what it was, but the minute I walked on campus, I knew this is where God wanted me to be, where He wanted to train me and lead me and guide me so that whatever I had in the future, I was going to get it here. And I'm humbled by that. I'm humbled by that. When I left here, I went to a church. I was a youth pastor for 2.5 years in Greenwood, Indiana. Being a Florida boy in Greenwood, Indiana was a big change. And so but we were able to be there. I met some friends that I have now that God has given us and just blessed to be there. And then He moved us to Florida 2.5 years later. So in 1997, I moved to where I'm at now. And I was the youth pastor for 2.5 years. I had like the dream job. I got to go back and work with my youth pastor, right? When you're in ministry and you have your heroes of your faith and you get to go back and you get to work with them, man, that's even better, right? Because I did it for free when I was a kid. Now He's going to pay me. Are you kidding me? This is great. And so I got to do that and got to be a part of that. And then after about 2.5 years there, basically what happened was he had a moral failure and our church was in complete disarray. And at 27 years old, I had this entire congregation looking at me and going, what are we going to do? I don't know about you, but at 27 years old, being a senior pastor is not what I wanted to do. I said, look, I don't want to be I'm going to be pastor someday, but I don't want to be your pastor. Well, they said, well, you pray about it. I'm like, oh, now I got to bring God into this, right? Now we're going to pray about it and make it spiritual. So we began to pray about it. I said, you know what? If they vote me in, I'll take it. If they don't, praise Jesus, hallelujah, let's just move on. And what happened was they ended up voting that day. We had 170 people that voted that Sunday, and 169 people voted yes. And nobody voted with me. Right? I was the smartest dude in the room. You with me? So we began there at 27 years old. We began there trying to say, okay, God, what do you want us to do? What do you want us to do? And I would love to tell you that, man, we went to every conference and we did all this stuff, but I'm going to tell you what happened. After that moment, they voted me in. Listen, I went into a 2-year depression. I would wake up, I would go to my office, I would shut the door, I'd turn the lights off, and I would sit there for 2 years and I would just get mad at God. Why would you do this to me? When I was 17, I left home, I went to BBC, I did all this stuff for you, and now I'm in this church? Are you kidding me? Just kill me now. I can't fix this. I can't help this out. This is crazy. So for 2 years I was sitting there. So my wife, she's so sweet, so awesome. She would come in. See, in Joshua 3, it's a crazy story. If you really go look at it, it's amazing. Joshua 3, here you have Moses has died, right? Moses has already gone on. And God says to Moses, he says, Moses, I want you to put your hand upon Joshua. He's going to be the next leader. He's going to be the one that comes in and leads the people. And what's amazing, if you read the story, you can do your own study. What's amazing to me is that Moses didn't argue with that. Did it ever throw you off? Like Moses didn't stand and contest. Why? How come I can't take him into the promised land? Why was it okay with him? And I think I have an answer in my own mind, but I'll share that later. But the transition takes place, and Joshua, man, he's 90 years old. Listen, 90. At 90 years old, this is what I want to do with my life. You ready? What time is Jeopardy? When is dinner? And can I make it to the bathroom on time? 90 years old. So how in the world is this guy at 90 years old, God's hand upon him, he's going to be the one that leads us into battle? That just blows me away. So I want you to pick up the story with me if you would. And here we are in Joshua 3. And here's a verse number 1. It says, early the next morning, Joshua and all the Israelites left the acacia grove and arrived at the banks of the Jordan River, where they camped before crossing. Now, when Israel left the Red Sea, we know that Israel was in slavery. We know that's a picture of bondage. We know that's a picture of our sin. And then you cross the Red Sea. They've been saved from their sin, from their bondage, and now they're going into the wilderness, right? Hopefully with the intention of getting their land, but because of all the backsliding, all the stuff, they got hung up for 40 years. And now they're at another bank, the River Jordan, and they're getting ready to cross over, now listen, into their blessing. The problem with ministry is so many of us, we crossed the Red Sea, but we haven't crossed the Jordan. See, we want God to do great things in our ministry, but we won't move out of that office and that dungeon of doubt and shame and despair and uncertainty. We just say, God, I just need to do something. God says, you have to get off your butt and do something. I don't know if God talks to you that way, but he talks to me that way. And so here they are on the banks, and they're getting ready to cross, and it's huge. It's a huge moment for Israel, right? Huge moment. So verse 2 says this, 3 days later, the Israelite officers went to the camp, giving these instructions to the people. When you see the Levitical priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord, your God, move out from your positions and follow them. Since we've never traveled this way before, they will guide you. Stay about a half a mile behind them, keeping your distance between you and the ark. Make sure that you don't come any closer. Now, verse 5 is great. Then Joshua told the people, purify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do great wonders among you. In the morning, Joshua said to the priests, lift up the Ark of the Covenant and lead the people across the river. And so they started out and they went ahead of the people. And the Lord told Joshua, today I will begin to make you a great leader in the eyes of the Israelites. He was already a great leader in the eyes of God. God had already picked him out and anointed him. Now he said, I'm going to bring your platform in front of these people. It says this, he says, they will know that I am with you just as I was with Moses. Verse 8 says, give this command to all the people. Now, there's 3 things I really want to just pull out and maybe kind of meditate on this for a minute. But here's a question. How in the world do we get to the place where we want God to bless our ministry? Because if I ask you that question, do you want God to bless your church? You'd say yes. Do you want God to bless your ministry on foreign fields? Yes. Do you want God to bless your home? Yes. We want God's blessing. Why don't we say, God, we want you to bless us? Because if we say it, we might sound charismatic. Can't use that word. You might do this. God bless, please bless me. This is what I do. God, please don't make me look like an idiot. Bless me. I hosted a fellowship meeting a couple years ago, and Ed Trinkle spoke for me, and Ed gave this incredible message about what he had gone through and what God has done in his ministry and how God has taken him to where he was and all this stuff he had to go through. And at the end of his message, I said, Ed, let's just pray over our guys, man. Let's just pray over them that God would bless them. And I asked the question I'm going to ask you, do you want God to bless your ministry? And you know what? Maybe 2 guys raised their hands. I'm thinking, you're liars. I'm not in this to be the biggest loser. You with me so far? I'm in this to win. I'm in this to go and get as many people into heaven as possible that I can. I want to see lives change. I'm not doing this because I'm just going ho-hum. I want to win. I want to win. And I want God to have power, give me his power so that I can go out there and share his gospel, however it may be. And the first thing he says to them, he says, tell the people to go wash themselves. Now, we're not talking about salvation. We're talking about blessing. We're not talking about getting you out of Egypt. We're talking about making you cross the Jordan River. And when to do that, the very first thing you have to do is change your clothes and take a bath spiritually. And realize the way that you used to do things, those clothes are old. You got to find some new clothes. You can keep the new style if you want. If you love bell bottoms, glory to God. Wear them, rock them. But you got to change. And spiritually, what that means is you got to come and say, God, strip me of everything, wash me, purify me, so that what I'm about to receive is something new and something fresh. How many times in the Bible do you read it says, sing to me a new song? Do you know why he says sing to me a new song? Because something new has to take place in our ministries. It can't keep going day in and day out. It becomes stale. What if you eat the same message or eat the same food every day? It becomes the same thing. We have to get to a place where we say, God, purify us. You know what the problem is with us? Is we're not holy. How many times do we look on the news and see our friends in ministry fall because they're not pure? How many times do we hear horror stories? We come here, we hear stories of, oh, how's so-and-so doing? Yeah, they're no longer in the ministry. I'm sick of hearing that. Listen to me. I'm sick of hearing it. I lived through it. My hero in the faith did it. You know, if you've never been a part of that, glory to God. But I'm going to tell you what it's like. It's like a train wreck, and you don't know where to start. And people are hurting, and people are broken. And when you don't purify your heart and change your clothes and get your heart right, then everything else just falls away. And I don't care how good of a pastor or preacher you are, nobody remembers your messages. They're only going to remember your last sin. I said, God, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be a guy who runs in this city and then all of a sudden I'm news the next day. We have got to get to a place where we are pure in our hearts and in our ministries. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm just going to be honest with you. There's 2 things you need to stay away from. Stay away from women and money. If you're broke and you have your same wife, you're doing great. You know, it hurts. It hurts because we're trying so hard to win people. And you know what? And sometimes we're our biggest enemy. And we have to encourage us and our staff and our leaders in our church to be pure. And the very first thing he says, before you cross, you can't cross unless you purify your heart. And here, guys, I want God to bless me. Okay, well, stop where you're at and say, God, purify my life. Show me my sin, right? Show me where I'm broken. Show me where I'm there. What was it? There's an article I read a couple weeks ago. I want to say it's like 70% of pastors who did this whole article thing, 70% of them were like addicted to internet porn. That ought to scare us. That ought to scare us. Man, I've got kids in my house. I got teenagers. I'm thinking to myself, what are they going to come up with? Who are their leaders that they're going to be able to look to? I hope it's us. I hope it's us. So the first thing he says, you got to purify. If you want God to bless you, you have to have purity. The first step to claiming your vision for your ministry and the influence is purifying your lives. A leader's life is greatly influential in an organization's life and success. I'm going to tell you right now, the greatest dude, I think one of the greatest guys ever walked the face of this earth is Billy Graham. Okay, I'm going to tell you why. I can't think of a single thing that anybody ever said about him about being impure. That's powerful. That is powerful. I can't even give you a sermon that he's preached, but I can tell you how he lived his life. Don't ever undermine or ever underestimate the power of a pure life. He needs you. To preach the gospel, we need to be pure. We need to have our homes intact. And this, you know what? And how many times have we heard pastors that had maybe an anger issue and they lash out at their family? I've heard it. We've heard it. Purity. I've got to be pure. You have to be. I'm counting on you. Listen to me. I'm counting on you. I might have somebody from my church in your area, and I want to send them to your church because I know that you love the Lord and your heart is the gospel, and you're going to preach and pour into them, right? We're counting on each other to do this. But you can't get your blessing in ministry until you become pure. Second thing he shares with us is this. His presence. He says, when you leave and we go out, what did he say? We're going to take the Ark of the Covenant and we're going to put it in front of you and you're going to stay about a half a mile behind. Can I ask you a question? Just think about it. How much money in the last 3 years you have spent going to a conference? Oof. Oof. Some of us spend some money, right? Because we want to learn, we want to grow, we want our church to do this, we want our church. Listen, I got nothing against conferences. I love conferences. I love to go and sit down, people to pour into me. I love it. I eat it up. It's so powerful, so encouraging. But I'm going to tell you the problem that we've missed is that, and let me just read some of this real quick. I just found this kind of crazy. Some of us are past-driven churches. We're driven by the past. Some of us are policy-driven churches. What's our policy? What's our administration like? Some of us are program-driven churches. Some of us are purpose-driven churches. I have the book. Nothing wrong with it, okay? If you like to read it, that's good. Enjoy. Some of us are personality-driven churches. Some of us are people-driven churches. Let me just give you a thought. I think we need to be presence-driven churches. I think we need to focus on the presence of God because I'm going to tell you right now, you're not that good. I'm just being honest. You're not that great. You're not that known. You're not that famous. You're not. And neither am I. I'm the biggest Bojack in the room. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to tell you, when I get people to walk in our church, they don't say to me, oh, the music was phenomenal. It's like I was standing at the hills of Calvary and I could just hear the angels singing. It was amazing. They never said, wow, your sermon, the way that you had all those points alliterated, it was amazing. And you're just so deep and so theological. No. You know what they say to me? I can feel God in this place. You want the BBF to be great? Put God where he belongs. Do you want your church to be great? Put God where he belongs, up in front. It's not about you. It's always about him. It's not about you. It's not about what you think or what you feel. You didn't die on the cross for my sin. Right? Jesus did for us, man. That's what motivates us. And that's what motivates the lost. So you have to be pure, and then you have to be presence-driven. You have to say, God, your presence has to fall in this place. When was the last time you don't make me look like an idiot, but God, just come and be here with me. I need you in this place. How many times do you preach the message and you go, man, that was a horrible message. Nobody came forward. No one listened. It was horrible. And then maybe somebody walks up and you go, that message changed my life. Because it ain't you. You can't even gauge this message. You just got to say what God tells you to say and just do it. Because all I want is I want God to be in the presence in the middle of where I'm at. Because if he's not there, I don't want to be there. It's all about presence. I'm telling you, it's all about presence. It's all about getting God in your church. And I'm just going to say, music doesn't grow churches. Great staff doesn't grow churches. They help, they don't grow churches. Great preaching doesn't grow churches. The presence of God grows churches, and God says that he will send people to you. If he can trust you with his people, he'll send them to you. People want to come. The world wants to hear the message of Jesus Christ. And I think sometimes we forget that. I think sometimes we overconference ourselves and we forget really what's really important is, God, I need you in this place. Let me just give you the last thing. He says, if you go and you purify your life and purify where you're at before we cross, and he goes, then put me out in front and let you follow me. So put my presence out in front of you. He says, then, listen, then, after purity, after presence, then I will put my hand on you in front of everybody and show them that you are my leader. You want power in your church? Be pure and have God's presence there. And you don't have to worry about influence. You'll have all the influence you can handle. Because people will know you are God's spokesman for his message. For 10 years, when we make that transition, for 10 years, our church, when they voted me in at 169 people, I grew our church, you ready, in the next 6 months, from 160 to 50. Phenomenal. I'll tell you right now, buddy, you talk about a great church growth guy, I'm your man. I will show you how to kill a church faster than anybody. I just kind of felt God saying, okay, you know, we're going to change some stuff. I'm going to take you in a whole different direction. And we came up, how we came up with Grace Point for us is that we wanted a point in people's lives where they could find God's grace. So about 12, 13 years ago, we named our church that. And all I told God, I said, God, I want broken people. I want my church to be filled with jacked up, messed up, broken people. Because I'm going to tell you right now, religious church folk will mess up your church faster than anybody. I want the stinkiest, stankiest, smelliest, grimiest, cruddiest people I could find in my city and give them Jesus and be able to see an incredible movement take place. So we began that process, and so it's just slow and steady. It's slow and steady. It's slow and steady. It's slow and steady. God doesn't call us to be mega churches. He just calls us to win people one at a time, right? So we began to just do that and began to try to get influence and try to just love on people where they're at. Orlando is known for, we have a huge homosexual population in our city. And I don't know if this is a crazy prayer or not, but I just say, God, if we can reach, we'll preach the gospel to anybody. If you can just, I don't care who they are, straight, gay, transgender, we don't care. If you want them in this church, they'll get Jesus. So at church on Sunday, you know, all this whole thing about Target, have y'all seen that? Target and all these crazy bathroom stuff that's going on. So at our church, I just said, listen, out here at our church, we have a little girls' room and we have a little boys' room. If you know your little girl, you know your little boy, we want you to use those rooms. And around the corner, we have a bathroom that's for anybody. It's just one single bathroom. So if you're confused, you can use that bathroom. If you don't know which bathroom to use, we just don't want you going outside. Right? We just want you to kind of keep it in here. We got places for you. And it was in jest and it was a joke, but the whole point of it is we want people to come into our church. We want people to hear the gospel because it's a jacked up, messed up world. And we need power. Right now, you need power in your messages and in your ministry because we got to reach these people.